think a lot of customers, when they move their disaster recovery into AWS, how we can help is we do have products such as Cloud Endure to help to facilitate customers' migration to AWS. And when they back up and put their workload on backup copy for DR on S3, that's actually one of the most cost-efficient way to actually store your storage. So when we work with customers on DR, let's say on SAP, we need to make sure that they have the strategy is correct. And from our experience, we are able to advise customer how they should actually architect their DR on AWS. So a lot of the customers, I would say, when they move their first workload, I would say the DR or backup, so that they at least get a taste on what AWS is like on the cloud, how you're going to manage your DR and all this. But one of the main things that's different is that it's still a pay-as-you-go model. So if you have a traditional DR, you have to put the same amount of servers there, and you have to buy for the maximum capacity. So for AWS, you can actually just do a backup, and when you need to do a DR exercise, then you spin up your instances. Overall, you'll definitely save costs from there. And I have a lot of customers that when they try DR on cloud, they like it so much that they actually turn their DR into production. So where they see a lot of benefits in terms of, I would say, pay as you go, the way, how fast we can actually spin up those instances and how fast they can actually, do the enhancement for the application, push in new updates, new patching. So this is just something that I want to share. Over to you, sir. Maybe you can add a bit more.
Yeah, thank you, Eugene. So whenever we're talking about our business continuity, one thing is a prime thing which comes on our mind is what is our RPO and RTO. Whether it's a 1 hour, whether it's 15-minute, whether it's like 4 hours or 24 hours, right? And based on this RPO and RTO, we are actually creating our business planning around it. And we have a different tools in AWS to do that. Around AWS, we also have our automated practices that where we are not only just creating this environment, but we automate completely. Within this tool, probably providing you the services to migrate, manage, but with the automation, we can actually run it as a completely on the cloud. One of the biggest benefit on the cloud when we are talking about AWS is that typically when we create any traditional DR on premises, it is very difficult to utilize that or do a DR drill. Because that is something is a nightmare to test it or something. And most of the time we are going to create the similar infrastructure, similar softwares, everything for our need to make the cloud, right? But when we're creating the cloud DR, we have a different options. We can create a hot DR where we are actually using those services, which is very evident, like 15 minutes of the things like in databases. We can use those native database services, or we can actually create the native replication of the database like SQL, Oracle, or SAP HANA, right? We can create a cold kind of DR where you use the tools like Cloud Endure and S3, where we actually taking the backup and continuously taking that backup onto the cloud, and not only taking the backup, which is a thing, but we can also run that particular instance and test it at any point of time, right? And we can only using the storage part and the replication tool cost, nothing else. And whenever you want, you can run it. This is so cost-effective solution, which we have seen that. And Eugene was also mentioning that the people are so happy to see that and seeing the flexibility that they actually shut down the production environment to start creating the DR as a production and start using it and using other AZs for a DR. So this was one of the classic case was there. And automation is something you not only if you want to look into the sequencing, that first my Active Directory server or domain control need to be up, then my databases need to be up, then my application need to be, all the sequencing can be provided on the cloud, and you can save a lot of cost around it. So this is very, very one of the first example while you're using or doing for a DR, and we are very much open to discuss those DR strategy. Our first question was in this webinar, and we have seen around 50% plus are already doing certain, 77% are already doing something, or they are in planning to do that. We are there to help you whenever you want. You can align with for DR strategies.